Hey guys, my name is X Factor. I hope you're having a great day. Thank you to Next on America and Bosky for sponsoring my trip out to downtown LA to let me go hands-on with the latest and greatest build of Lawbreakers, launching August 8th for PS4 and PC. This is Harrier, and those were laser death beams coming from my moon boots. And here's the ultimate. Cliff called it the Care Bear stare, rightfully so, because it brought me back to that happy place when I used to watch Saturday cartoons on the couch before to have a basketball game or baseball game in the summer. The Harrier is a medium to long-range support-based character. You can do a ton of damage, but you can buff not only your damage, but your teammates' damage, and of course you can drop a small heal and of course refuel, which is a big part of your class because you do have a lot of mobility, and if you backpedal, you can burn people with your boots, and it does a dump truck of damage if you are shooting them with your primary. But be very careful if you get yourself in the wrong situation, or you're not kicking wraiths or assassins off you, or there's somebody rather tanky in your face and you miss your debuff and you don't have help, you're going to have a very bad time and die extremely quickly. So this class is great for holding lanes, holding areas at range, or playing alongside of another DPS like a wraith or even an enforcer, where you can do a ton of damage if you drop your buff ability or your heal ability in an inconspicuous space, because they can be destroyed. They are kind of tough to see, but if you see a canister of the enemy's color, make sure you shoot it, because it does refill every couple of seconds. It is a small heal with a little bit of a heal over time, but it does refuel people completely the second they run over it, which is big when we're talking about other game modes. So this is Uplink, one of the new game modes, and it's a little bit slower paced than some of the other game modes, along with Occupy, which I thoroughly enjoy. You're not going to see a round of Occupy here, but I'll quickly explain it. There are moving objectives, circular objectives that you have to be on. If the enemy is on it with you, they are contesting it. No one's getting points, but as long as you have somebody on it and the enemy is removed, you are earning points on your way to 200 to pull out the W. These points do rotate. There are multiple spots in the map, close to your deployment, close to the middle, close to their deployment, and it moves around in a pattern. So if you figure that pattern out, when there is a small downtime before the next point gets set up, you could be there before they get there. And split seconds do, of course, matter. We played a couple rounds where we won or lost by 3 or 4 points. Again, if they're contesting it, no one's getting the points, so it's super important to contest those and throw your body. Those are elongated fights. Some of those fights last quite a while, so you're seeing respawn waves coming back. That is a situation where Harrier can really work out, because you do have your debuff. So every 5 or 6 seconds, there is a ball on the top of my gun that you see recharging and forming whole. That is my debuff. If I hit somebody, it is a skill shot. It does require lead at the various ranges. They turn white. That means they're taking an additional 20% damage, not just from me, but from anybody on my team for a handful of seconds. It can take somebody from 100 to 0 in a split second. It happened a couple times. It's pretty crazy. But if you are by yourself, if you do miss your debuff, if the other person has proper aim, you are going to simply get nuked. That debuff makes a world of difference. The second thing is your healing and refueling ability. It really shines in a game mode such as Uplink or, of course, Occupy, where you're playing the same area for an extended period of time. You can put it in the middle. Multiple teammates can hit it as it's recharging. It can be extremely helpful. It gets tricky in the faster game modes such as Blitzball with the Harrier class, where your heal might be floating off in 0G, or just might not be helpful behind that initial 30 to 50 heal, and of course the refuel. So I found myself really gravitating towards Harrier when playing Uplink and Occupy due to some of those extended gunfights and battles such as this. They stole our module with 100% charge. Now, in the other game mode called Overcharge, if they simply get it to their base, they overcharge it, that's a point for them, and it'd be 0-0. We would have no remaining charge. But we got it back, we dropped it, and of course, we scored it. So it's about getting to 100, keeping there a couple seconds, and then bringing it home. Something also unique about this game mode, let's say we would have gotten it to 99%. They took it, they brought it back to their base, they got to 100%, and they secured it, they got a point. Well, once it resets, guess what? We're still at 99% for our uplink upload. So that means if we get the device, we bring it back, the uplink, we'd only need to get a percent, overcharge it, protect it for a couple seconds, and then boom, it would be 1-to-1. This creates an interesting dynamic, and there were some crazy comebacks and crazy rounds while playing this mode multiple times. So that makes it interesting. You're really not out of it. And if somebody's got to make a comeback, it can be pretty epic, especially if it's 2-2 and they've got 90 already on their uplink and you just have 0 because you just scored the most recent point. And of course, Occupy can create those crazy moments every couple seconds because you're only scoring points for your team if you occupy that objective space. There cannot be enemies on it. So you bring all 10 people when they're alive to one specific spot. It creates a clusterfuck, which is absolutely awesome and creates for some epic moments and quad kill mania, which is extremely possible in this game, especially if you have your ultimate ready, or as I like to call it, the Care Bear stare, and everybody's just piled up for the right moment. Another important thing to talk about when it comes to the launch of a video game is the state of the engine, netcode, and tick rate. Most of you guys know me. I came from the Battlefield franchise. Previous Battlefield titles such as BF3 and Bad Company 2 had some pretty bad tick rate and netcode. BF4 became great. BF1 is pretty darn good. Improved from that. Overwatch, pretty darn good. PUBG, not so good. So how does Lawbreakers stack up? Extremely well, based on the analysis that Battle Nonsense did. He's the guy on YouTube that breaks down these videos, spending countless hours and testing tick rate, response times, and everything that goes along with that. And this is right up there with Overwatch and CSGO 64 tick and Battlefield 1, which is the right side of the equation to be on. What does that mean? As long as there isn't something going on with your ISP and you're not having major issues or packet loss, you're going to die when you're supposed to die in a timely fashion. You're going to kill when you're supposed to kill in a timely fashion. There's not going to be delayed damage where you might die 2 to 3 to 5 feet or a couple meters behind cover, or take that delayed damage like you would in other games right now in 2017. I know, crazy, right? So the netcode, the tick rate, is working in harmony. It is extremely sharp. Now, is there room for improvement? Yeah, but based on the analysis of where they're at, they're pretty much right there with the rest of the games. They're on that gold tier or gold status, which makes me extremely happy because you could have the most fun game in the world, but the engine is broken and it's going to take time to fix it. If it's fixable at all, it could be the most frustrating thing in the world when gunfights are dictated by the server or the engine, and it seems to be a flip of the coin to who's going to come out on top, where the skill and the gunplay does not dictate it, and the flux of the server does. The next thing I like about Lawbreakers is it has an extremely high skill ceiling, although it is rather easy to pick up, to figure out how to play the basics of your class. When it comes to mastering the abilities, the timing of things, and most importantly, the mobility, it will take you a while, because mobility is everything in this game, especially when going against assassins and race and even Harriers, which have pretty crazy mobility thanks to the ability to feather your laser-powered moon boots. If you tap shift in a rapid succession, you don't drain your fuel. Of course, you could use your ability, your E key, to give you more fuel instantly, but it allows you to skate across the map, kind of tribes-ish, if you will. And if there's a good wraith, you're not going to know it. You're simply going to be dead if they have extreme mobility paired with nasty aim, which happened a few times at this event because there are players like Frothy Omen, Game Sager, and of course Fantasy there, which if they got a hold of you, if you blew your shot, or if there's multiple people who blew their shot, you're simply dead. So I really look forward to that, because a lot of games lately have been dumbed down way too much, way too simple to play, with no skill ceiling. The other good news is Lawbreakers, when it launches on August 8th for PC and PS4, it's not going to be a $50, $60, or $70 game. It's a $30 game, which is awesome because that isn't seen all that much when you talk about a studio of this experience and size, let alone indies. This will have full developer support. This will have more new stuff. Of course, there will be more than likely monetization of crates and cases in the system, but it's just aesthetics. There isn't a secondary gun or ability that you can unlock through the cases or crates that you can buy. It's all shiny stuff for your classes or your character. Now, you can unlock these by grinding in-game based on your performance and the outcomes, but you can speed up their process because there are some pretty sick and disgusting weapons and skins and other things that you can customize your characters with. At the end of the day, I had a ton of fun playing Lawbreakers and the multiple opportunities I was given because I used to play fast-paced Twitch shooters, including Quake, Unreal Tournament, and of course some Overwatch. So for 30 bucks for me, this is pretty much a no-brainer. But what do you guys think? Do you guys see yourself picking it up, maybe taking a break from the norm, or this is something you've been looking forward to for a long time? The game's come a long ways, and based on the relationship the developers have with the community, it's going to go a long ways as well. Thanks for watching, hanging out. We'll see you guys soon.